le propriétaire d'une Clio, une Clio blanche, numéro 237-737, est prié de boucher sa voiture. La voiture vienne l'ambulance, le passage d'ambulance. Clio blanche, 237-737. S'il vous plaît, bougez votre voiture. Allô. Si tu dois dire dans 3 minutes, une Clio blanche, Carlos. 237-737. Donc, il y a une entière là-dessus. Topo et une Yorama.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this 30th edition of the Aito. Here we are in beautiful Tahiti for one of the most beautiful, grandest races in the world. We have, of course, our French commentators, Olivier Huc and Ingrid Vohi, which will be, of course, following this race along with us. My name is Johan Buit, and I will be commenting for you, doing commentary on live television as well as web. But today it's going to be for the Aito in English. So come check us out, www.tntv.pf. Of course, if you're already here, you don't need this information. But anyway, you can see the paddlers are making their way out into the finish line, which is situated in the open ocean. It's a beautiful day. It's calm waters. Going to be very, very difficult. But we're going to check out what happened yesterday. So this is the open women's race. As you can see, these a lot of foreign paddlers visiting, of course, Tahiti to be here for the World Championships, and of course, why not do another race, which is, of course, the women's Aito, and of course, there's no big surprise in regards who was in the front from the beginning and to the finish line. It was this lady, Hinatea Bernardino, 9th victory in total since her first victory in 2006. Of course, she stopped a few years just to rest, and then every time she came back in race, she won the race. So she's never really lost to anyone. And she dominated here today. Of course, she outlasted Marguerite Mayana, who was her rival, eternal rival. And Thea Lorfev, all in the Masters division, they'll be competing in the World Championships. And that is pretty much the first, second, and third. So Hinatea Bernardina, of course, nine times victory. That's great. And so here we hear that she's got a different kind of stroke, or started using a different kind of material, and you can see everybody. There's our women's finishers, and a Tahitian, of course, crew, and everybody's, of course, really happy. Hinatea all in white. And congratulating her teammates, of course. They're going to be competing together in the World Championships. Here we are. You can see over 400 paddlers coming out to the starting line of this Aito. So we are about maybe a little bit more than a quarter of a mile, I would say half a mile out into the open ocean. And you can see one side of the starting line is the green buoy. And it extends out. They're going to be extending a line with the flotation devices on the line. And yeah, so we're coming back here, checking out. These are the youth races. And this is the under 14. And that's Roni Tama. And that's a under 14, yeah? And he's from Bora Bora. In under 12 division. There. And so, great day of racing yesterday. We had the women's races and the youth races, which happened right here in the lagoon, right here in the Bay of Taone. You can see the very, very small competitor. Yeah, and that's his name, Deegan. So, yeah, so you can hear a little bit of the noise in the background. They're still trying to build so that the sun doesn't come and affect us while we do our live here. So if you hear any noises in the background, that's what it is. Here's our finish line. As you can see, the buoys are lined up parallel to the shoreline. And so here we're going to look at the race. Okay, so they're starting on the line, and they're going to be going towards Point Venus, which is the extreme northernmost point of the island of Tahiti. They come back into the lagoon, follow the coastline, and they enter the lagoon, and they do a loop around the reef. And then they come back, and in the opposite way, near the shoreline, come to the finish line. As you can see, there's a possibility of a water drop. We'll have some images of that. And that's the only place that they can actually refuel. As you can see, they don't have much as far as drinks on board of their va'a. And there you can see our boat. We have two boats out on the water, and you can see Andre waking his hands up. And so he's our consultant on the va'a. following the race from the water point of view. And so they position their va'a so that they can see all the paddlers coming out. So the starting line, of course, there was a change. Before, the Aito used to start on the beach, and this year they decided, with the great numbers that they have of paddlers, it'd be better to be out on the open ocean. So you can see the green buoy, and they're going to be extending a line all the way out so that the paddlers can line behind the starting line. And so you can see some of the paddlers in close-up view here. For 456 paddlers, as you're saying. And once again, apologize for the noise as they're doing some construction here in our booth. So if you don't mind that. And so in the open ocean, you'll be able to follow the races, but as soon as the canoes come into the lagoon, there won't be any supporting boats, escort boats following they outlawed the interior lagoon. And normally our media boats are allowed, so we'll be able to get some images, but we're told not to create too much wake, which is definitely a big problem when it comes to the conditions of being very, very flat. So here, this is the finish. Can you believe this is the finish of the Masters Division? Chevalier Hikutini, who also is representing Tahiti in the Masters Division marathon races in the World Championship. So he's in form today. He's in great shape. He beat out defending champion Rohidi Varuahi, who won the last 2 editions of the Masters Division. And so they once again raced for qualifying, and then here Roland Teaoui is the 3rd place in the Masters Division. There they are. This is we're going to listen to them. Hikutini, of course, in the middle. He's going to be being interviewed.
Surtout mes enfants et ma femme qui me soutiennent tous les jours, qui sont souffert aussi. Et c'est bien aujourd'hui que je gagne cette place pour eux. Oui, le championnat du monde, c'est le même entraînement qu'on a aujourd'hui. C'est le même concept. Il n'y a rien à changer. Il faut juste aller devant et maintenir sa course jusqu'au début, jusqu'au bout. Voilà. On se retrouve dans quelques jours alors. D'accord. Merci.
So you heard some words from Hikutini saying that it's thanks to his family, his support of his wife and his children, of course, and without them, he dedicated this race. Without them, he wouldn't be able to do this. And of course, we talked about the World Championships and him, preparing. This is a great way to prepare for that race. And you can see all the paddlers moving out. Once again, I told you they're going to be fixating a line with the flotation devices, which they have to be in the back of. And you can see they're moving their way towards that, I believe, that starting line. So it's going to be quite interesting. There's quite a few paddlers at 456. And so here's our second consultant, David Bennett, who's going to also be following, and he's a backup to the first, always, but he's going to be also trying to check out other paddlers competing, so he'll give you a different angle, maybe a little bit further back from the leaders. Of course, we have one boat with the leaders, and after a while, Davidson's going to be looking for paddlers and try to see who they are, and then, just bring value to the race by also featuring other paddlers. And so that's Davidson's role here today. And once again, if there's a problem with boat number 1, Davidson will take his place. And so you can see how many people out here. It's a beautiful day. The sun came out this morning. It was quite cloudy, a lot of clouds, and then this right about noon now, it's disappeared. So beautiful, beautiful day. Difficult for the paddlers, of course. It's flat. The conditions are very difficult. So it's hot, flat, and noon departure time. Well, that's at the Aito. The challenge, of course, of the course. And then, of course, the conditions, the weather, the competition. It makes for the greatest race, I believe, individual va'a races in the world. and especially with the number, like I said today, 456 paddlers on the water, and we can say close to 30 people. So it looks like they gave the start, which was quite. So apparently they gave the start. I was waiting for them to be. I think they may have made an made an error. So this is not good. I mean, I think because we are still ways from the starting time, so I don't. Yeah. So this is what Andre on the water is saying, that it's actually an error. So everybody's going to have to come back and line up again, and so you can see every little inch counts. So if one paddler is moving ahead, then another one's going to paddle and move ahead, and it just just need for somebody to maybe react differently and go a little bit faster, and then everybody thinks it's a start, and everybody goes. So yeah. So first, according to Andre, they had actually made two zones. One where everybody should line up, and that is about 200 meters behind the the starting line. And so I think they were supposed to be moving from that start zone to the start line, but I think maybe people got confused and stuff like that. So once again, instructions were given before the race, about half an hour before they went out into the ocean, and it perhaps that some of the paddlers did not hear these instructions, and of course are out there kind of wondering what's going on. So that happens often, with this many. That's the challenges, of course. And so here's Charlie, and we're going to hear this interview. He is the original creator of the Aito. So the starting is difficult, yeah. And so once again, he's talking about the changes they made. Traditionally, the Aito is supposed to start on the beach, but with this many paddlers, they said that we're going to put it out in the open ocean. And that's the problem with the open ocean starts, is that once one person does not respect the line, then everybody else says, well, if he doesn't, well, why should I? And so that's what is the difficulty of an open ocean race. That's the reason why they usually want on a beach start, because it's pretty even. Everybody's on foot, and then they climb into their va'a. And of course, the paddlers had all asked, we don't want this to be on the beach. We want this to be an open ocean, so it's fair for everybody. And so that's a challenge, of course. The organizers have decided to go with the will of the paddlers, and now here you have it. He's just saying, if one person doesn't respect, then it's just it's like a chain reaction. Everybody starts moving forward, and that is the challenge of a start in the open ocean. So, of course, we're talking about his last 2 days and listening to him. He just wants to congratulate everybody for making the first day a vivid success. And having the young people and the women race first, and to start the festivities. And this morning, the Masters division, and of course today, right now at noon, we'll have the Open Men's division, and tomorrow we'll have the Junior Men's division. So everybody has their time of glory in the sun. As you can see, literally, it is beautiful out here. You can see the sun reflecting on the ocean. Diamonds sparkling in the ocean. It's beautiful. So now you can see everybody is making their way back to the original, you could say, zone, a starting zone before they get to the starting line. Okay, so that's part of the challenge, and he said that this is the one. This is what the paddlers want, and we respect that. And so, yeah. So we talk about 30 years of organizing this race, and Charlie's been here since the beginning, since 1992. Yeah. And of course, the women's are more disciplined than the men, and that's what we saw yesterday as far as the same starting line now, okay? All paddlers have the same starting line when it comes to the open women's division, the men's opens division, as well as the junior men's division. So, here we have already one paddler down. Apparently, it might be a problem with his va'a. He's brought to shore. Oh, his paddle is broken. So he's going to get a new paddle and then, yeah. Okay, so the decision now is they're going to use the jet skis and 5 boats for the start, meaning everybody needs to respect the line that's going to be made by the jet skis and the boats. So here we have a competitor. Looks like he's from well, not from Tahiti for sure. Trying to see the number 11 on my list. And number 11 is Will Reichenstein from California. So he has a problem. Of course, he changed. He needs a new paddle. That's what happened. So they're bringing him a new paddle. There it is. And so the official's boat, which is great, is going to go take him out to the starting line so he doesn't lose any time. And so that's the organization of this race. Shao Maitere, of course, 30 years of doing this. And so thanks to organizers for allowing this paddler from California to get his paddle and take him out to the starting line so he doesn't lose any time. And so there the jet skis coming, lining up, and you can see some of the boats also lining up. So they're going to be forming a line with the boat. And here we have Will from California, Will Reichenstein, going out to the starting line. So big ups to organizers and officials for allowing him to be able to do that. Yeah. And there, and so there's Will's not the only one from California competing today. Also Bronson Napoleon, Micah Scott, and Jamie Spoto from California. They all came down for this race, and we'd like to welcome everybody. We have paddlers from Brazil, Canada, Great Britain, from New Caledonia, New Zealand, of course, Singapore, Samoa, Great Britain, Mexico, Australia, Panama, Rapa Nui, Niue, Argentina, the Cook Islands, Rapa Nui, and so quite a lot of paddlers, and also from the Pacific Northwest. And so that could be like Washington area, and a lot of paddlers, foreign paddlers today, which is great. It's always awesome to have paddlers from everywhere competing in Tahiti, and so we have about 50 foreign paddlers. And of course, you mentioned 456 total. That's over 400 Tahitian open men's paddler. So usually in the past, we've had paddlers competing in the juniors division the day before, and a lot of them would come and compete also in an open men's division. So that's not going to happen this year. And of course, that reduces the number of open men division paddlers. And so the junior men's only compete tomorrow. And so they're not allowed to do open men's first and then junior. So like the Super Aito champion from Tautira, he's Hoatua. He's not going to be competing here in the open men's division. Not that I know of, alas. And so, yeah, I think he is. Well, we'll see. I think I don't want to move forward with saying something that may be incorrect. But like I said today, the junior men's division race is tomorrow, Sunday. Today is only open men's and masters men this morning. So. Okay, and so going back to the Te Aito, of course, we talk about 30 years of history, so 1988. And the very first paddler, Gilbert Mendelssohn, he's the first winner of the Te Aito. On the list of great winners of the past, we have Louis Laughlin, who has won the Aito 12 times. No, 11 times. Also, Karel Mauni, multiple winners. And the last 3 editions, Kevin Seron Jerusalemi. Of course, unbeatable in the Te Aito. And so we'll be looking forward to him. A lot of communication and marketing around this paddler from Shelva, who is also competing in the World Championships in the V6. So the best of the best are here today. And this gives an opportunity for foreign paddlers to come and measure themselves and where they are standing in the world stage. Tahiti, of course, are considered the best paddlers in the world. Although the New Zealand paddlers can say they have a few divisions, categories up on Tahitian in regards to the women's and the youth divisions at the last World Sprints. So this is the first edition of the marathon racing, so over 10 Ks. That's going to be, we'll find out if the New Zealand teams have prepared well, and we are certain they have, because they prepared well for the World Sprints. And so this is just a different race, of course, different style of racing, but all New Zealand paddlers are here. So it's good to see them out there and competing for Aotearoa. So here's some of the officials. Remember, we talked about the line, yeah? I told earlier that organizers wanted to extend the line from the green buoy to the open ocean, and they are supported by some flotation devices, meaning some little buoys, orange buoys, to create the starting line. And then you'll have all these jet skis and these boats monitoring to make sure nobody passes the line, because it could be penalized, of course, and you don't want to start a race with a penalty. And so put yourself in a hole. And so that's how organizers have done in the women's and the open and the masters men, for those who did not follow those races. And that's what they're doing right now in the open men's race. And so if everybody's looking to stay closer to the shore, and then a commentator said that it's going to be quite congested near the buoy. And so our consultant on the water, Davidson, had mentioned that, that's one of the key things, is to get out clean. If you're feeling confident about your sprinting ability, you try to get in front. If you're one of those paddlers that as the race goes on and gets stronger, then make sure you don't want to break your ama or break your paddle, like our friend Will Rankenstein from California. So he was quite fortunate that the race was postponed for him to be able to get another paddle and come out here and compete. So good for him. And so commentator also was asking Andre what he thinks about this. Have we had in the past a lot of breaks in the ama, which is the outrigger? So he's saying he feels like he's like the Hava Festival, which is happening next weekend, by the way. So in 1 week you have V1 paddlers, but it's not in this location. It's going to be on the south side of the island. Yeah. And so he said that's always a challenge. Like I said, the congestion creates a lot of different kind of difficulties. Here's a beautiful drone view. You can see Moorea Island in the backdrop. The town of Papeete Port you can see also, and this reef extending towards us here in the Bay of Taone. And a beautiful view. You can see how many paddlers. It's quite exceptional. On the World Sprints won't have as many paddlers lining up, so it's great that the paddlers, foreign paddlers from other countries, are able to experience the Te Aito in these kind of conditions. Like I said, we're very fortunate the conditions are calm, meaning there's no big waves. So it's easier for the paddlers to maintain their position and, of course, respect the starting line. We also talk about the Parava'a, which is adaptive paddling. And we'll have that live Tuesday afternoon, so there's going to be a race. And Patrick Vidiamu, who is competing in the adaptive paddling, Parava'a, he actually finished pretty well in the Masters Division this morning, so that's quite impressive. Hikotini Chevalier also will be representing in the Master Division Tahiti, and Vidiamu, who were world champion in Parava'a in the past, of course, competed today in Tahiti and was able to place pretty well. As the commentator said, he was actually in the lead with some of the leaders on the first straightaway leg towards Point Venus. So once again, Ingrid is talking about Patrick Iveriamu, who won multiple medals in the world sprints. And if he's been winning this race, he was in the lead at the beginning. That means he's quite fit, and we're looking forward to his performance in next week in the World Championship. Wow. So 24 kilometers that we'll be racing today. Beautiful drone images. You can see the Beataone with the white buildings there and the yellow buoys. And as we're moving towards, you can see the town of Papeete in the backdrop. Beautiful, beautiful. Here's the port. You can see on the right-hand side. And right in front of us, of course, I mentioned the zone of paddlers from the green buoy, and they have to move back. So organizers, you can see in the yellow boat, number 9 boat, has the line, the starting line, and all these paddlers are beyond the starting line. So they have to move back. Remember, the starting line is the green buoy extending out to the open ocean, being pulled, rope being pulled with small buoys, these red buoys you can see right there in front of these paddlers. And so you have to start behind it. We'll have jet skis and 6 boats monitoring the starting line to penalize whoever is not respecting the start line. And once again, we'll look for the eye view from the top part. You can see the Aito, it's an open division, and so open in regards to the age, but when you can see the different canoes, not like in the World Sprint, everybody has the same canoe, same va'a. Here you're able to use your own personalized va'a. So you can see each official boat has a number. You can see numbers on top of that, and we have 13 of them that are lining up and helping and monitoring and policing, I guess you could say. From the top, beautiful, multi-colorful, beautiful blue ocean, deep blue. You can see the line by the boat, so everybody's on the line. And still a lot to move back, so we're going to be once again delayed. We're already delayed. We're supposed to start in about 2 minutes, but by the time these paddlers move back, yeah. And so it's a little bit more congested to the shoreline because you want to be the closest to the reef because you have to turn right. I guess you could follow the shoreline on this first leg. It's not like we're going to a straight line towards Point Venus. So the shortest distance between Pudu points is between the green buoy and the shoreline, where there's another buoy that need to contour. And I mentioned earlier a congestion nearer to the shore. So you can see this white boat, number 7, has a line, and everybody has to respect, meaning behind him, and there's going to be a yellow boat with a number 9 that has the other one. And you can see the line, you can see it. So Davidson is going to be in the back. We can see not the back of the race, but another angle of the race. So we're going to be talking to him and asking him his impressions. So he's going to be following 430 while Andre's going to be following 20. So he said, hey, that's not fair. He's going to try his best, of course, to try to feature as many paddlers as possible. So we're behind the starting line with these images of Davidson. You can see the Point Venus is straight out there to the left, you can see. But the paddlers need to go towards the right, meaning towards the mountain. That's where a buoy is going to be placed. So you can understand why everybody wants to be closer to the reef. So it could be advantageous, of course, if you're sprinting out and you're one of the first ones. But if you're not, you could run into some trouble, maybe break your outrigger or your paddle, or get hooked up with another paddler and then lose your momentum and lose time. And so it's a risk, but looks like a lot of people are willing to take. And Davidson is anticipating. Look at this. Look how everybody's just bunched together, one over the other, and not much room to paddle. And so he said for sure there's going to be some, I guess you could say, hookups between the outriggers and paddlers. And so he's going to be sure to be able to, be there for as far as a camera to just see some of the problems that the paddlers are having. So Andre is going to be near the starting boat. We call that Tatarava'a, which means the start of the race. So Mata, he is the course director. He's going to be putting up the red flag, which means get ready, and then from the red it goes to green. But yeah, and so as soon as the red flag, that means it's ready. That means in just a few moments it's going to start. So so far so good. No. Beautiful sailboat out there coming into view. Here you have Mata on boat number 14, who's calling all paddlers to move behind the line. And you can see right on top of his boat a person standing with two flags. One on this left hand, which is like I believe it's a red color, and the other in his right hand a green color. So he'll put up his red flag, and then as soon as Mata says go, then pull down his red flag. You can see a red flag in his left hand and a green flag in his right hand. Look at that. And so once again, positioning, very difficult. All these paddlers are, you could say, are penalized because they're beyond the line. Okay, there's the green flag, red flag. Oh, no. There, it's off. Okay, so we'll see who's going to be penalized in regards to that, but the start of the race is starting. There you go. Perfect images from Davidson's boat. Was able to capture the start, and you can see the drone. So you can see all this wake being created. There's already a flip. You can see a huli, a yellow boat, and there you go. A lot of hookups. Remember, we talked to that. If you're not a good sprinter, a lot of problems are going to happen. So there you can see quite a few, maybe a half dozen paddlers flipping over, and a lot of them hooking up to each other, which of course is stalling their momentum. And with these official boats speeding away, creating a little bit of a bump, so some of them are able to catch it, and they're off. You can see already a red boat distinguishing himself in front of the pack. We'll see a little bit closer. Tuarongo, we can see. So start of the race, Tuarongo. Rongo Kawen, a young paddler from the OPT club. And here another beautiful view from the top. So as soon as they're extending their leads, you can see a little bit more speed. Okay, there's another hookup between the green and the red. You can see in those drone images on the left-hand side. And yeah, you need to control your va. Make sure you don't bump into anybody, not break anything at the beginning of the race. And once again, you're going to be heading towards the more mountainous area of the island. You can see the point, which is a very flat area. And they're going to be close to the reef. Unfortunately, there's no big waves, so it's not too dangerous getting as close as possible. And you can see these beautiful images from the top. Wonderful. So Davidson's going to look back with some of the breaks. Yeah, so once again, there you go. An Aito, which is that is broken, so his race, he needs to repair it. So he's going to try to fix it. So number 35, that's Miguel Leon. Miguel Leon from Rapa Nui, unfortunately, has broken his Aito. And he is going to try to fix it. It's going to be quite difficult. You can see how broken it is. So he's going to take off one piece, try to fix it. And so beautiful images from the drone. From the top, you can see the crevices of the reef, the raking reef on the right-hand side. And of course, this multitude, 456 paddlers making their way towards the northernmost point of the island of Tahiti, towards Venus Point, or in Tahitian, Te Whauroa. And you can see the closer you are to the reef, you can catch some of those little bumps, and you can slowly but surely make your way up into the front. So Miguel Ian from Rapa Nui, so unfortunate for him, needs to, in the water, fix his va'a. And you can see it's with, there, you're going to have an official helping him out. And he's going to ask him if he wants to continue. No, he's going to stop. Maybe he might fix his boat on top. We'll see what the officials are going to allow. But I believe they'll allow him to race. So Miguel Leon from Rapa Nui gets back on the boat. Maybe he's going to try to fix it. We'll find out. So Davidson's going to stay here and find out what he's going to do. While, of course, Andre Vohe is at the head of the race. So who is in the front? So he said we can't get close, but we're going to stay away. So it has a little bit difficult to. We're going to recognize some of the va'as. Revi Tongsing, yes, the junior Tongsing, junior winner last year in the Te Aito. So Revi Tongsing looks like he is in the front. And Kevin, our defending champion, is in like the top 10. Yeah, you can see all the paddlers there. So Turongo is in the middle. Also, who had a great start. Revi Tongsing in his white. And of course, his stroke is in the lead. So he decided to really, really get close to the brakes. And beautiful images. Wow, wonderful. Revi Tongsing from Mauna Hine Va'a Club in Fa'a. And his coach, of course, original coach, is Gordon Baff, who is a technical advisor to the Va'a Federation. And so big ups to Gordon. One of his prodigies is leading this Te Aito today. And you can see slowly but surely, you can see on the outside, quite a few paddlers have decided to stay on the outside, while you can see maybe 70% of the paddlers have decided to follow the same line as Revi Tongsing. So yeah, for now, there's just one paddler, Miguel Leon, who had a problem with his va'a broken, while most of the others have flipped and got back on. And like I said, a few hookups, so stalling a little bit of the va'as, but so far so good. Just one paddler. Maybe he was able to fix his va'a, and a lot of racing still to go, so maybe he could be able to finish. Anyway, that's what we hope for, flying all the way from Rapa Nui to come and compete. So you can see quite difficult to breach through, quite a few walls being made by paddlers. And so if you're stuck behind and you're trying to get up, you have a very, very difficult time weaving yourself through the pack to try to get up. So maybe it's just a matter of just staying in proximity, conserving your energy, and make your move when there's a little bit more wide open situation or wide open ocean. Like I said, they're going to be going towards the island part, not the point, and towards a buoy that they need to cross before they head out to the Point Venus. Yeah, and so here behind, this is the district of Arue. You can see the beautiful mountains and inside the lagoon, you can see those yellow buoys. You can see up above. That's going to be the course on the interior part of the lagoon. So that's part of the race course. They're being limited by these yellow buoys, as you can see there. And so, once again, beautiful view of the district of Arue. We're on the north side of the island, Tahiti. And Revi Tongsing still in the lead with his white va'a and red ama. So Andre is quite outside because he can't get in middle. Of course, he doesn't want to create any waves. And so he's going to be commenting on some of the paddlers. 122, that's Reo Bennett. Reo Bennett, he's from the district of Arwe. And Reo is also the younger brother of a famous Tahitian soccer player, Naya Bennett. And from the Tiki Toa, our second place finishers in the World Cup of Beach Soccer the last 2 years. So Reo let his brother do the soccer thing, and he's doing the paddling thing. So good to see him out here in the water. And so beautiful images. You can see the crevices from the reef. And those were places where a lot of fishing goes on. You can see all diving enthusiasts that love to go in those crevices and hide out so you catch some big fishes. Yes. And so I just love these images, all the different colors of the va'a and the reef break. And so there, I think Miguel decided to stop the race. His arma's too difficult to repair. It's going to be shortened because it was broken. So it's no. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get back on his va'a too much. So apparently he's a Taekwondo champion. And I decided, of course, to do some cross training with that. And so 341, you're looking on our list, Cyril Appiong. Cyril Appiong on his right here live. So he was a smart guy. He decided, okay, I'm not going to go in that the congested area. I'm going to come out next to the media boat so that everybody can say hi to all his family from Earth. So Cyril Appiong. Good thing we can see his number. So he's around the top 50, according to Andre on the boat. And there. And so we're able to feature some of our local paddlers. And now it's Cyril Appiong. Once again, good thing we can see those numbers and we have our list here. Be able to tell you who they are, at least where they're from. And that's Cyril Appiong from Tahiti. So in the back, we're gonna go and we can hear Davidson talking about. He's gonna try to follow some of our foreign visitors or visiting paddlers from other countries, and so that's great. That's great. Davidson's gonna talk to some, film a little bit some of these paddlers that are maybe racing for their first time here in Tahiti. So yeah. So once again, a big ups to all these foreign paddlers who are competing, and of course it's great that you have the Aito right before the World Championships. So it's all part of planning and all part of the strategy in regards to the organizing committee to make sure it's the best venue and best conditions possible. Organizers, of course, have given some options to the paddlers in regards to lodging and food, and it's for all budgets. And so it's great to see a lot of paddlers, as I mentioned before, over 50 paddlers competing today. Okay, so once again, we're confirming that it is Revitong Singh that is in the lead. And we're going to focus on Raymond Cavera in his yellow and green va'a. And inside of him, Raymond, it looks like some American paddlers. And so he said the 4 paddlers from California are from NAC, Newport Aquatic Center. And of course, we saw earlier Will, who went to get his a new paddle. So him and his friends are all together. And it's great to be competing together with friends. Great experiences you could share with each other, and and share it then after that with all your friends who are envying you being competing here in Tahiti while everybody else is elsewhere. So we're gonna maybe take a pause in just a few moments, according to Olivier. We're gonna thank our sponsors, but once again we'll keep in our drone as long as possible, and then as soon as the drone is done filming, we'll probably take our publicity break, our commercial break. And so Ingrid is saying all the big champions are here today. So past winners, the best teams at Tahiti with their individual paddles, And so Kevin Serron-Gerusalemi is the defending champion. And Johan Kronstedt, who won a few races. Steve de Ishotata, who won the Aito in the past. Rete Ebb and everybody else. Even some champions from New Zealand like Tupuria King, who's won a few races like the Caledonia Aito. And so they're all here as well. So we're really happy to have the best of the best. So we're going to take a little break in just a few moments, about 3.5 minutes. Enough time for you to take a little break and get something to eat. And bon appétit this lunch.
Je rappelle que vous pouvez suivre l'événement en live sur
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We just coming back from our commercial break with Olivier Huc and Ingrid Vohi. And so we were able to witness a wonderful start to this race. And you can see we're coming towards that buoy I mentioned earlier where everybody needed to go towards more inland. And then from there, they're going to be going out to Point Venus. So here, first to the buoy, it is Revi Tongsing. You can see is white, multicolor hull with his red vaal, so you can see his stroke is quite different. He's looking great ahead, and as you can see, right behind him is in second place. That is Bryce Punuatauhitu from Tahiti in second place. Bryce, yeah. And here from Shalva'a is Paia Tamatitaio, and that's 316. And here is Kevin Queter from Steve Teixeira's brother. So Steve Teixeira is a former Te Aito winner. Yeah, and there he is, Kevin Siron Jerusalemi in his Va'a. You can see accelerating there. And Ami Damas, also some former champions or top place finishers in individuals in Johan Kronstedt and Ahmed Abel from Mawatamaiti Umpapara. And so Ta'aru Dubois, also multiple winner of world sprints, also in the top 10. So great mix of paddlers coming towards the first big buoy turn and making their way towards the point of Venus, which is Tifauroa. So we're gonna try to see if we can get the top 15 or so. He's Andre on his boat is gonna be following. So Revi Tonsing is definitely the leader. You can see just maybe less than 5-6 meters ahead of Bryce. His name is number 64. Punwa Tahitu Haitu from Bora Bora. Yeah, third place and in fourth place, Kevin Seranger Jerusalemi, the defending champion. So Kevin Queter and Hotu Itere Poroi. Yeah, and Hititua Tairia and Johan Kronstedt. So that's some of the leaders that we have so far in the top 10. And not too much of a surprise, maybe from the Bryce from Bora Bora, who doesn't often compete in a lot of the races here in Tahiti. Once again, for those who are not aware that in Tahiti we have about maybe over 50 races a year. So that's almost one race a week, which of course gives great opportunities to improve. And so some paddlers don't show up to these races because they're probably racing in their own island, because every island has their race as well. So Bryce is looking good in second place. Good job for Bora Bora. And so here we're looking some of our American paddlers. Yeah, number 54, we can maybe mention his name, is Gustavus Morris. There you go, from the United States. There you go. And right instead of him, yeah, so Gustavus. Mentioned he's from the United States, not from Canada, well, according to my list. I know. And so this is a race for everybody, and that's a great thing. It's a festival on the water for all paddlers of all levels. And being able to finish for these paddlers is a great accomplishment. And here we have a beautiful picture of Mahonali Nautua from Tahiti in his number 73. Here he is the president of the organizing committee. His name is Jean Chikou. And so he's just here to give some of his impressions of the event. So the event, of course, is not his organizing committee that's in charge of that. I guess it's still the Te Aito organizing committee, but they've associated together in organizing a world tour of the Te Aito. So we could say they still work together, although John Chikou is, of course, in charge of the World Championships. So the Te Aito is like a warm-up, I could say, warm-up game for the World Championships, but of course the conditions are quite different. You don't have that many paddlers on the water. So there you go. President of the organizing committee, local organizing committee for the World Championships of marathon racing. So he's really happy that some beautiful weather, of course, contributing to the beautiful imagery that you are watching on screen. And so we talked a little bit about the start, quite difficult, meaning being on the lagoon, on the water. And so the great thing about the World Championships is that we're not going to have more than 30 to 40 paddlers. Not like today we have 456 on the water. So it's going to be a lot easier to control the start, and which of course makes it even for everybody, fair for everybody. So Sunday you're going to have, we can say there's going to be the official opening ceremony. And so we're going to be inviting everybody to come and celebrate the World Championships. On Thursday we had opening ceremonies for the Aito, so there was a ceremony for that. And there's going to be a show, there's going to be a cultural dance showcase. And of course we're inviting everybody to come and join us. And so we have the junior men's race also to start off festivities. And so everybody's invited. There's a lot of room, a lot of parking at the venue. And of course this venue is still being constructed for the World Sprints next year. Not too long ago they just demolished the previous setting, the venue. And so they made more space available for everybody. So if you get the chance, come down and check out the stands. There's some food stands, there's some equipment stands, and there's the ambiance of having concerts every day. So it's going to be great festival of honoring our cultural sport. Yeah. Here we have Ravi Tonsing in the front. Now, once again, he's a young paddler. He won the juniors division, and so he always has a great start. He is known for having a great start. And of course, the more experienced paddlers, of course, end up catching him up. So last year, it was the same thing. He was in the lead, and slowly but surely, Ravi Tongson came up. And so here's the next buoy that they are coming around. We are making our way towards Point Venus. You can see in the background, that's the Tahiti Pearl Beach. And that is in the Bay of Matavai. And we're going to be approaching this huge rock formation. And that is the point of Tahara. Here it is, this huge. And so they're contouring now. Now they're making their way towards, for about another kilometer or two, towards the Point Venus, Te Whauroa. So you can see Revi Songson has been able to maintain his lead, but everybody's just positioning right behind. So they're going to be following each other. So Revi Tongson first, Bryce second. You can see the rest of the paddlers here in the images. And this multicolorful, that's Ami Damas from Shell Va'a. There is Kevin Seron-Jerusalemi in his white Va'a. Normally, the previous champion usually wears a yellow jersey. Today, he does not have one. Maybe organizers have decided to make everybody an even start. But he is number one, as you can see. And he has his 5 Va'a supportive. John Button and his crew supporting Kevin since the beginning, of course, contributing to his success. But we all know it is his will and sheer power of Kevin that has made him the paddler he is today. And of course, so it's quite close here. You can see everybody's kind of bunching up together. Revi Tonsing, of course, leading the pack. And this is only after 25 minutes of racing. We are almost arriving at the point of Te Whauroa, Point Venus. And so the images are going to be a little bit more difficult because we are in somewhat calm conditions, and our media boat is actually creating wake. And so officials have asked the media boat to stop and actually to move away. Once again, if you have a wake to surf on, you can be able to conserve your energy as much as possible. So he's talking Johan Kronstedt there in his gray colored Va'a. And Ta'arwa Dubois also. There's quite a few people vying for that top position. And so here you are, Revi Tongson in the front. And we saw Kevin Seron-Jerusalemi moving away. So here Revi is telling them, hey, move away. You are creating wake for everybody else. And he's quite mad because then he kind of makes it like, why should I take the lead if you guys are going to give everybody an opportunity to come back on me? So there you go. Our Va'a is going to be, our boat, escort boat, our media boat is going to stop, and there we can see moving away. And see some of that there's one of the officials' boats telling him, move away, move away. So we talked about having 16 or so officials boats on the water for this race. So we have our split image. You can see to the right, that's more in the middle of the pack. And once again, it's a festival for all different levels. And so, yeah, we're trying to identify some of these paddlers by looking by their numbers. 341. That is Cyril Appiong we saw earlier. That's what we saw earlier. So Davidson moved up a little bit. Andre had mentioned him, and he's in his right in the first right in front of us. Cyril Appiong, and trying to look at the other 336 is Manat-i Shamkwa, also competing there. So he's talking about more in the like 100, the top 100. Yeah, so they now are just arriving towards the Tahara point that we had talked about. And of course, officials telling media boat, please stay away, keep distances from the Va'a. And because once again, you don't want to create any wake. You can see on right there, 98. This is Errol Mauni. We recognize him. This is Fred of. He's a brother of the nephew of Karil Mauni, who's won multiple times at the Aito. And so here you go, Errol Mauni. He paddles for Enviropol, and of course, always happy to be part of the festival and continuing a family tradition. His sister, Vaimi Timaono, also competing in the Open Women's Division yesterday. So all in the family. That's how it is here in Tahiti. So split image here we can see on the left-hand side. That is Revi Tongsing, the young paddler. We believe that he's not even 18 years old. He decided not to do the junior division and just focus on the Open Men's Division because he did place well last year. So Revi Tongsing, he won last year the junior division, 2016. So we talk about the different stroke style. We talk about the more powerful, deeper stroke called the huti, which is used mostly by the district of Tautira. They made that famous, that stroke style, using more power, but once again, just keeping momentum going. And so being able to, and of course, you have other paddlers that have a higher stroke rate. And you can see there. Once again, it's a slower stroke rate, maybe about 50 strokes a minute, but effective, as the objective is to keep the Va'a moving forward and not letting it bounce too much. You can see, okay, he's accelerated a little bit more. But the idea, of course, like in every race, is that you don't want the Va'a to be moving vertically, bouncing too much. And so if you have an efficient stroke style, you're able to maintain a nice balance on the water, then you'll have less friction on the Va'a, and you'll be able to move more efficiently. There. So there's a lot of racing to go now. So it is good to be in the front, and it feels good to be out there, and now everybody's just following you. And so you'll be able to react when it's needed in regards to that. But then if you're controlling the pace, then you're controlling your rhythm, and you're controlling and actually able to conserve energy. Like I said, the wind isn't very, very strong. You can see the trees behind aren't moving very much, so that shouldn't be much of a factor. But of course, coming downwind is always something nice to have, is some waves to catch. But today, as you can see, not too many waves. Of course, we are going towards the point of Te Point Venus. So it is a strategy, once again. Kevin Serangelina, the defending champion, is in 4th place in striking distance. So if he really wanted to take the lead, he could just accelerate like everybody else. But it is, as I mentioned, about conserving your energy and making your right moves when you need to. So, and right behind Kevin in fifth is in gray. That's Johan Kronstedt, and he's always been a strong finisher in many other races. He also competes in stand-up paddling, and he's won some prestigious races this year here in Tahiti. There, he's talking about Johan Kronstedt. Yeah, so there you go. They're both vying for that fourth place position, and there. So said Johan Kronstedt, he loves going upwind. That's his specialty. And you can see he's also competing in the same Va'a model as Kevin, both 5 Va'a. Yeah, Manutea Mayon, you can see in the hat, just boosted and accelerated to just move up ahead. And then everybody else has decided not to wear their hats because you need to finish with your hat. If not, you get a penalty. So here's a pan image of Point Venus, and you can see the yellow buoy. That's where we need to get to. And then once you get to that yellow buoy, then it's all downwind from here towards where we started. Okay, so in just a few moments, we'll be contouring that. And then we're looking back with Davidson. And so he's estimating he's like in the top 100. So he said from a few minutes ago that they decided to accelerate a little bit more the stroke. So maybe they tried to follow some of the strokes out here. You can see number 625 in a white. That's the number 625. So I'm going to see if I can find his number and identify this racer. No, unfortunately, no. And so according to our consultants out on the water, the wind has arrived. It actually has gained some power. And so we are maybe going to be really be fortunate to see some waves. Paddler's going to be catching some waves down towards the Bay of Taone before, of course, entering the lagoon. So we'll be able to have a surf session here in just a few moments. And so here's 114. We just feature Heiari Chapwing Moe from Tahiti. So remember, 25 kilometers of racing total, and it's only been about 35 minutes or so of racing. So still a lot of more racing to go. We're estimating close to 2 hours of so we're making that first big turn towards the Point Venus, the northernmost point of the island of Tahiti. So once again, for those who want to share our live streaming with the world, here it is. You can find the replay. So if you missed the beginning of the race, you can go on to tmntv.pf/Tahiti Va'a 2017. So right after the race, you'll be able to see the replay in English and in French, your choice. So there, the first paddlers have went around the yellow buoy, and it is still the same. In first place, we have Revitong Singh and Ami Damas in second place. So Ami Damas is multicolorful. And then you have Titahio also, the Mike Titahio in second place. So the Bora Bora paddler Bryce is not in the top 3 anymore. You can see Ami Damas is in third place. You can see his multicolor slash kind of color. Yeah, and then there he goes, Ami Damas. He's originally from Rangiroa, but he paddles in the Shell Va'a. Shell Va'a, also competing in the World Sprints in the V6. So he's part of that team. And so he's here today, of course, defending the colors of his club, of his island, the island atoll of Rangiroa. And he's in the top 3, which is great. So we talked earlier about being in that kind of position. And so there, you can see Kevin Serran-Jerusalem in the white, and to his left, on our right of the screen, you have 2 paddlers Johan Kronstedt and Ta'aroa Dubois, who was a world sprint champion a few times out in Sacramento. He won 6 gold medals back in Sacramento. And there, you have, that's your top 6. Top 6. And still, once again, striking distance from the top of the battle. So they're going to be moving out towards the open ocean. Once again, back to the point. There's Manutea Millon. Yeah, and Rete Eb also here. 11th grade. Here's Rete Eb. We saw him at the Miss Tahiti pageant last night, supporting, of course, his girlfriend, who was not competing, but she was presenting the show. And so he was able to be part of the festivities and, like clockwork, out on the water the very next day, competing at a very, very high level. So big ups to Rete Eb. So here, once again, in the blue and yellow and red and green, that's Manutea Millon. And there you have. That's your top 10. And you can see now they're going to be spreading out. You can see from the start to the point, they were all following each other. And now they're going to be spreading out, and everybody's going to be moving towards catching some bumps out here. So, okay, so we were there. We started. We went towards land, and then now we made our way up, and then we're making our way back. So as you can see, when we come back towards the shore, we're going to be going into the lagoon and contouring that reef that we saw earlier. We saw the buoys, and then coming back and close to the shore, finish right in front of us here. We're standing right in the finish line. And so the boats are here. Okay, so you can see out on the open ocean, you're able to follow the race. That's the great thing about racing in Tahiti, is that they allow people to come and follow the race. So you come with your friends and you spend the day watching or supporting your friend, you know, and just having a good time on the beautiful ocean. And organizers have always allowed that in the past. And, you know, a lot of foreign paddlers have complained that all these boats are creating wakes, and it's actually more advantageous for those in the front. But that's the tradition of racing here in Tahiti. We want it to be a spectator sport as much as possible. It's gained popularity with the TV shows that are featured, all the live events as well. And once again, everybody wants to be part of this festival of Va'a on the water. And you have also the National Police, the Gendarmerie Nationale. They, of course, are monitoring all the boats out here, making sure everybody's has their life vests ready and, you know, are, of course, driving their boats safely. And, yeah, they're there for security reasons as well. So, yeah. So when you can see these images where we are in the back, the boats are following in the straight line. They're giving a lot of space to the paddlers. You can see over 50 to 100 meters, over close to 100 yards space. So all these, maybe I would say 100 boats following. They'll only be able to follow from this segment on the outer part of the open ocean. But as soon as the Va'as get into the lagoon, they're not able to follow. And so we'll have to just wait until the next Va'a come out of the reef and there. So here's some beautiful close-up shots of the contouring. You can see some of the paddlers sticking their foot in the water to create drag on the inside, on the outrigger side, so that the Va'a can turn a little bit better. And then, of course, accelerating through to be able to gain some speed, because you do lose some speed when you put your foot in the water. So, yeah, so we're like in the top 100, and you can see everybody's about the same level. There's quite a few paddlers. And you can see there's like 3 or 4 levels of turns. Oh, you see one little flip. Okay, so once again, they have officials counting the boats, and whoever does not contour is of course, can be penalized. And so this young paddler decided to flip his boat, stop his boat completely, and to make sure that he respects the buoy in order to finish. So that's what happened there. Yeah, so everybody kind of moves in to get as close as possible. Remember, your ama is on that side of the buoy. And so once you do that, of course, a lot of things can happen. So 40 minutes of racing, and of course Davidson is explaining why these things kind of happen. Yeah, because with a lot of paddlers about the same level, you know, they are entering I guess you could say a funnel kind of section of the race course, and then because of that, of course, everybody's just bumping each other, hooking up, and of course a lot of incidences can happen in water. So here we have number 2. That's Johan Kranjce. He took second last year, came back, and so he's number 2, and that gives us an idea where he was last year. So yeah, the top 3 have 1, 2, 3, and there. Number 2 is Johan Kranjce. And third last year is Steve Teixotata, and we haven't seen him since the beginning of this race. So we're wondering where Steve is. He's one of our great champions. He's won the Aito in the past. He's won it multiple times, but we haven't seen him so far. Yeah. So you can see now everybody's a little bit more spread out in the open ocean. There are some bumps, and we'll see if we can get some clean ones so that they can, you know, connect them. And the idea, of course, is to connect as many bumps as possible so you can conserve energy and you save it for the lagoon portion of the race. So here you can see that is Johan Kranjce again catching a little bump. On the inside of him is Kevin Serran-Jerusalemi, and in front of them is Ami Damas from Shelva'a, a teammate of Kevin Serran-Jerusalemi. And so he's in front with his multicolorful yellowish kind of va'a. So here we have some connection problems. So we're back here at the finish line. And there now. As soon as we are able to get a clean connection, then we'll come back to the image. So just to let you know that, yeah, if we show another image, it's because we want to make sure that the image is clean. Yeah. So here we have surfing. Small waves, but still, nonetheless, a good opportunity to save energy and show your skills on the waves. There's Ami Damas way out there. Okay, so yeah, so these are top 4. Like earlier today, earlier in the inside, that's certainly you can see with the images way on the inside is Revitong Singh. Yeah. There's Amara Aitamai on his boat. He's one of the founders of the race. And so they're spread out. All the way on the inside is Revitong Singh. More on the outside line, open ocean line, is Ami Damas. And here we are looking at the 4th and 5th. That's Johan Kranjce, and inside of him is Manutea Millon. So far, only Tahitian paddlers in the top 10, as we notice, as we have some hopefuls from foreign countries, or we could say foreign, but our cousins from down south, Aotearoa, Tupuria King, who were looking for it, of course. He was in great shape. He took 5th in the last local race, and I talked to him earlier. He's ready to go. Got a lot of his crew members from his V16 here also, so they were able to go outside and paddle for more than a week, getting accustomed a little bit, understanding in Aotearoa. In New Zealand, it is cold, it is winter time, and so a little bit of difficulty, of course, getting consistent training runs. But here in Tahiti, if you come a little bit earlier, you can already acclimate and already see the conditions and get used to the boats as well. Of course, big up to Tupuria King, Aotearoa's best paddler. And he's looking forward, of course, to the V1 race as far as the marathon championships and representing his country. So here we are. This is a family beach. It's, of course, just the only beach that has lifeguard services and ocean safety, and it's a family kind of place to be. And so it's called Te Whaurua. And here on the split scene, we'll have, it looks like one of our New Zealand paddlers. And this is Davidson with the number 244. So this is not from New Zealand. He has New Zealand Warriors on there, but this is Kyle Tarofa, one of our better one-man canoe paddlers in Tahiti. And he's on his 5 and right outside of him, we saw him earlier. Bryce Punuatahitua from Bora Bora in his orange va'a. Yeah. So they're competing, of course, for the positioning in the top 10. I mentioned earlier they are spread out from some closer to shore, and we, of course, as the boats following the race, we need to be as out on the outside as much as possible. So we'll be able to just feature more of the va'as that are on the outside. So here, Kyle Tarafao from the district of Tautira, who competed with Team OPT last year, and this year has gone back to his original team of Air Tahiti. And so he competed in the Tahiti Nui Va'a as captain. And so he's from the district of Tautira. Great paddlers coming that. So here's 130, and we're looking. This is Mauhiti Teki Tuahaya. Yeah, he's also from Tahiti. And 200, is it 213 or 130? Wait, 213 is Hiti that's Hiti Tuataida, excuse me. That is Hiti Tuataida in the green and white. Hiti Tuataida in the green and white that we just saw earlier. He also from the district of Tautira and competing there with his good friend. I think they're cousins, Kyle Tarafao and Hiti Tuataida. They're both great paddlers from the district of Tautira. Hiti Tuataida competes, of course, for Team OPT, while Kyle Tarafao was with Team OPT last year, competing with Team Air Tahiti this year. So more powerful. He's over 100 kilos, Kyle Tarafao, and he's won a few races also in the individual, beating some of the best of Tahiti. So as mentioned earlier, there's quite a few races here in Tahiti, over 50 races. On the individual side, maybe half that much, but still a lot of races for these paddlers to improve. More competition, more times you're on the water, the more improvements you make. And that's, I think, the biggest difference when it comes to the level of why Tahitians are, more competitive. And that is because they have more races all year long, while you have in some countries winter season where you can't compete as much. And, of course, being able to do a lot of this paddling all year long is one of the great advantages of living here in Tahiti. Here's Hiti Tuataria. Yeah. In his Areva'a. Yeah, Hiti Tuataira. As you can see his stroke, just So, back live here after 50 minutes of racing. Okay. Here's a beautiful view. Let's see, you can see the wind picked up, so we have some wind generating waves, some bumps. So that's great for the paddlers, especially for those who love surfing. Once again, it's a way of showcasing your skills in the deep open ocean, and at the same time, just conserving some different style of racing. Of course, you accelerate to catch the wave, and then you take a little break while riding it, balancing on your va'a. So here's number 176, for example. We're going to check him out. We're going to see him as he try to catch a wave. And that's Richie Labei. Yes. 176, excuse me. That is Tamari Kameha. Oh, excuse me. Tamari Kamehameha from the island of Bora Bora competes with Team OPT. And so you can see his surf session, awesome. You can see his balancing his va'a. So the idea really here is to create less friction as possible. So you can see he's actually elevating his ama, his outrigger, out of the water, so only his hull stays in the water and catches the wave. And when you can do that, when you can master that skill, then you're going to be able to surf the wave longer and control it better. Remember, we don't have in these va'as, there's no rudder. And so in comparison with like a kayak or the OC paddle, or excuse me, va'a, you can actually control the direction of your va'a with your feet on foot pedals and stay on the wave longer, and even lift your ama out of the water. So here showing, of course, some skills on the V1, being able to balance and lift your ama out of the water at the same time as catching a wave. It's risky, of course, because you could flip, but believe me, these guys are quite experts after years and years of paddling. You can see, check it out. So he uses the other paddle to balance, and try to lift the ama outside, so that there's, creates a nice streaming flow in his slide, and at the same time, of course, he conserves energy. So here we have Tutu Mamatu Huitapu, who she is part of the organizing committee, but she's also known being president organizer of the Hawaii Kinui Va'a, which everybody knows is a over 100-mile race that happens between 4 islands in the month of November. So we're asking if there's anything that's different compared to previous years. So we are going to be changing the course for the young men's and the women's race. And so the start will be from Tapu Tapuatia, mythical, the birthplace of ancestral navigation. Tapu Tapuatia will be the starting. And then you're going to be going out of the pass of Fa'aroa and towards so we're going to be going along the island of Raiatea. That's going to be the race for the junior men's and women's race in Hawaii Kinui this year. So big change. It's going to be able to come to you live with this race, which is great because last year, because of the zones and stuff, we weren't able to do that live for the whole race. So this is going to be great news for paddlers coming from Tahiti and beyond, young paddlers and women. So we'll be able to feature them a little bit more with a race that's going all alongside the whole length of the island of Raiatea. So you can see with our drone, who is located near the shoreline, you can see the armada of boats way out there in the open ocean. And of course, they are following on the inside, of course, all of these paddlers. We are talking about 456 paddlers competing, and they're going to be spreading out, so of all levels. And in the past, those who are in front are able to catch up for those within the back. So that makes one huge loop of paddlers throughout the course, which is extraordinary. So you can see. So there you have it. After about close to an hour of racing, this is the course that is set. You can see the big how I could say that point, red marker telling where the leaders are. And you can see they're making their way back towards. So we could say that we're not getting to halfway towards, but we're almost there, halfway towards to the back downwind run, and then after that. So here, a close-up image of Johan Kronstedt in his gray 3X, and you can see some of his sponsors, and once again controlling his va'a beautifully, as he's catching every single little bump, every single little wave to, of course, generate a slide. And as you can see, trying to lift up his va'a, his ama, so to take advantage as much as possible of the wave, and then accelerating to try to connect on another wave. So there you have it. Johan Kronstedt. Admire the technique and the skills. And for those who are enthusiasts of the V1, of course, this is one of the big challenges, is to be able to surf without a rudder. So catching bump after bump. And here we have in our split image Davidson with va'a that has flipped over. And of course you can see the paddler bailing. And for him, it's it's all about finishing this race. So having this opportunity to have two va'as, giving you a split image, a different angle on the race. We always see the paddlers in the front, and it's nice to see those that are behind, of course, and competing for different reasons, of course. Paddlers, of course, paddling for prestige, and of those just challenging yourself and being able to finish one of the greatest races, V1 individual races in the world. So difficult to distinguish the numbers on the Va'a. Would love to talk a little bit more and just identify these paddlers out here. This is a Davidson who's in the back, boat art consultant, following this yellow and white and black Va'a. And you can see it spread out closer to the shoreline. You can see some way outside on the open ocean. And so there you have it. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just translating what Davidson talked about, the training regimen that you need to get through to be able to compete on 25 kilometers. So he is talking about a lot of ocean racing and a lot of long sessions to develop, you could say, the cardio part, because it is a long-distance endurance race. And focusing on that aspect, of course, is helping you to be able to last as very long as possible. But of course, in this training, you can see when you're catching waves, there's a lot of acceleration going on. And to get that added power, of course, it also helps a lot. And so, you know, a mix of the two. But getting on the water and actually figuring out your Va'a, how it feels on the water is the most important. You know, just spending a lot of time on the water with the Va'a, and so that you're able to react when it's needed. And that's a huge advantage for a lot of those who live next to the water, who have Va'as next to the water. And last year, and also who aren't competing in team V6. So that's what happened last year. Super Aito. Kevin wasn't able to win the race. It was a young paddler from Tautira, Hoatua, and he was able, as a junior paddler, was able to beat Kevin by, of course, the last few weeks just concentrating on his individual Va'a. While Kevin, of course, competed with Shell Va'a in many different races and wasn't able to spend time as much. And that makes a difference. So here I have Ami Damas from Shell Va'a. You can see getting close to the reef, of course, in the backdrop. And Kevin is in second place. So he's in great position. So Kevin looking, of course, to repeat again. He's won the last the last 3 editions, and he, along with Lewis Laughlin, has been the only 2 paddlers to win 3 in a row. So Lewis Laughlin had won 4 in a row twice between 1991, 1994, and 2001 and 2004. And so Kevin, of course, is going to try to do that today. But it won't be without a fight. And Ami Damas, of course, is in the lead right now. So once again, we're just on our first part of the leg. Now we just went out to the to the point, to Tefaurua, Point Venus, and on our way back to their starting line. And then they have another lap to do, but on the lagoon side. So more race, still a lot of racing to go. Like I said, this is probably the most fun part of the race because it is about catching waves, coming down, wind, etc. But as soon as they get into the lagoon, then it's going to be a battle. You have the elements, you have flat water, so we'll see who's going to last. So, of course, our consultant, Andre, has said, yeah, we're looking forward to this battle on the inside in the lagoon. So here, Kevin catching this beautiful bump. And right behind him, of course, in the white and in the red, that's Revi Tongson in third place. So you have it, Ami Damas in first. In second place, it's Kevin Seron Jerusalemi, our defending champion. Okay. And in third place, Revi Tongson, who was leading the first portion of the race, meaning the first from the start to Point Venus. So we'll be back in just a few moments. We're going to be having a little commercial break, so don't go away. An opportunity, of course, to thank all of our sponsors here at the Aito. We're talking about Power8, OPT, the telecommunication company, Vini, as well. And here we go. So according to this graph, it is Kevin Serrangelini that's in first place. Or that's just his number, excuse me. That's his number 1, Kevin Serrangelini, but he is in second place. So there. And right inside of him, you can see it in the red Va'a. That's another competitor. And accelerating, now that's number 316. Hotu Terei Dean. Yeah, and here in 193, that's what we're talking about. So Dean Huyatere, that's my cousin. So yeah, my cousin, congratulations. So anyway, we're in the backdrop, and like I said earlier, we're going to be taking a little pause, commercial break. Right in front of us. So Kevin was first place, second place. The third. Here we have him, the young paddler from Fa'a, from Maunahine Paddling Club. Here, this is another image of Dami Damas, excuse me. Here in fourth place, it's Manutea Millon. Manutea Millon. His father, Jean Millon, great paddler from the Pirava, and some other club teams. And so, of course, in a tradition of family, son following in the footsteps of his father here. So here we have Manutea Millon coming through. He's in fourth place. You can see our first is Kevin Seran-Jérusalemi here on the waterfront. Second place, Ami Damas. Third place, Revitong Singh. Fourth place, Manutea Millon. Fifth place, Johan Kronstedt. That's your top five. We have beautiful drone images, not too far from the shoreline, right in front of the Royal Tahitian. You can see a lot of people there. You can see the paddlers going through. They're going to be contouring this now. They're making their way in the lagoon segment. We talked about that earlier, where the boats are not allowed we have a camera view from the outside in, so we'll have those images for you in just a few moments. You can see there a little islet on the left-hand side with the scaffold, and you can see there they get to come back towards, so we'll have some beautiful images here. From my standpoint, this is what we see. This is the finish line, although we are going through this. So there's going to be a water drop as we make towards at the end of this beach. You see a lot of people gathering around that corner, so you're able to get some drinks if you need to refuel. That's when you're able to do it. So. Beautiful drone images. You can see they're quite close to one another. So Ami Damas does not want to let Kevin go, although Kevin did take the lead at the entrance of the pass. And right behind them, Revi Tongson still in the hunt. Now look at that. There, Kevin Séranger les amis. Beautiful view from the top where you can see his stroke technique. As a paddle entered his water, it's nice and almost perpendicular to the water. A stroke going through, coming out of the water at the hip. Perfect technique for those of you that are, of course, wanting to improve your stroke. It's always good to look. Here's Kyle Taraufau. Oh no, Tupuria King. Yes, this is what I was waiting for. Yes, he's from Aotearoa, New Zealand, so he's coming through. I'm thinking he's probably in the top 10 or 15. So a lot of racing to go, so a lot of things can happen. There, Kevin Séranger making his way through there. In second base, Ami Damas. You can see some of the local people. And this is coming into the pass. Remember we talked earlier. It's a beautiful imaging. Of course, a little backlit, but still when you're coming out here, it's really nice to see a long, long line of 456 paddlers coming towards the shore. So a lot of ambiance here. There's some dance groups playing some music and dancing, and of course it's the place to be right here on the shoreline. You can see all these beautiful images, all these paddlers coming through there. So back once again to our leaders. So Revi Tongson was able to catch up the little lead, and here is an image, of course, of paddlers coming towards the shoreline. Yeah, so our consultant on the water, Davidson, just you know, he's in like in a 200, and so a lot of people with the same level of, you know, they're all grouped together, just following each other. So this is an image of him as they enter into the pass, into the Bay of Taone. Yeah, and all beautiful drone images, interior of island lagoon. So this is like a little funnel channel between these two outcroppings of reef in the lagoon. And so these three are going at it, of course. Boats are not allowed here, and so they're making a straightaway. They're going to probably go over the reef. The water is deep enough. It's high tide, so they won't risk of them, you know, hitting the reef. So it's pretty cool. Cool imagery here. And now we're going to look at that long line of paddlers coming through from the pass all the way to the shore. Beautiful images here. So 100, you know, an hour and 15 minutes into the race. And so far, we're just beautiful day here in the Bay of Taone. I'm on the beach not too far from this action. I can see the paddlers right in front of me. So makes you kind of want to go out there, yeah. But remember, there's not so much waves, and so conditions are very difficult for 25 kilometers to compete in. Here, another image from the drone from the backside. And then you can see the little island with the scaffold where we have our crew here. And you can see the extent of the lead that our main paddler, Kevin, and his group has on some of the paddlers in the back. Yeah, that's Rahel Dean, another paddler from Tahiti. Big shout out to the Dean family, my family. Yeah, and of course, all the paddlers following the shoreline. Okay, so here, Ami Damas decided to go neck to neck, as our fellow commentator likes to say, neck to neck, head to head, mano to mano, with Kevin Serongeli's Ami Damas, and in third place is, we'll see. I think it was Revi Tongsi, but. Of course, this is the battle that we were all waiting for, and we knew that was going to happen. So who's going to give up? I mean, who's going to let down first? That is the question. It's a battle of mental strength. So in third place, I said all along it was Revi Tongsin, so I stand corrected. It's not Revi Tongsin. It's a fellow Tematitayo from the island of Rangiroa in third place. Paia, his name is. In fourth place, it's Revi Tongsin, and in fifth place, it's Manutea Mion. There's Revi Tongsin. And there's Manutea Mion in his blue va'a. And then after that, we don't see merriment, so you can see that's I would say in French, a peloton. So a separation of the leaders from the rest of the paddlers. And so beautiful images of Johan Kronstedt there in his gray va'a. So he's going to have to go, meaning remember talking about not having boats inside the lagoon, and so our boat with a consultant on board is going to have to leave the area. And then you have Tuteari Hawatua, who won the Super Aito, meaning the best of the best, beating Kevin Serongeli last year. So he just mentioned some of the Kevin Wieder, Hutu Witere, Por'o, some of the leaders that you often see in paddling, Tahitian paddling. And that was your top 10. So we're going to come back to these images over here from the shoreline, and you can see number 68, that was Kainu Utemauri. And you can see more and more paddlers coming through. So this is an image further down the shoreline. So they're contouring the buoy where I'm just in front. This is the finish line here. And of course, they'll be finishing in the opposite direction. So hopefully everybody will get through here before the leaders come through. And we're just mentioning, Ingrid had said that in the top 10, you have 5 paddlers from Shelva on the same club team. And those 5 paddlers will be competing in the V6 World Championship of Marathon Racing. So open racing will be very, very difficult for other countries, understanding that you have 5 of the 6 paddlers that you will find on the Va'a in the top 10. So it's good to have at least one paddler in the top 10, but you have 5 of them, all from the same team. Imagine that. So here are some beautiful images. In the blue Va'a on the left-hand side, you see Manutea Mion, and you see our drone just go up into the sky as we are looking from the scaffold on the Motu. And here, this is images from another drone image that we have. You can see still next to each other, Kevin Serongeli on the inside, Ami Damas on the outside, and right behind him, Paia Tematitayo just lurking, ready to make his move. You can see the lagoon course, how far it is, yeah? And where no boats are allowed, and you can see there. So fortunately, we do have these drone images, so give you to give you a view of what's going on in the race, and that's the best thing we could do. I think it's if you imagine if you could use the drone to actually follow the whole race, and that would be pretty cool. But today, that's how we have it, and great to have our guys from Fly Shoot Tahiti helping us out with the drone images. And you saw that earlier from the scaffold, another drone. This is 2 drones out on the water, and you can see here contouring that one. This is there, number 379. Let's look at him. What's his name here? So big shout out to Lau Rafael from from Tahiti. So here's our leaders. So they're going to be coming out of the lagoon, and they're going to be contouring the reef that they've been, racing close by to. And then they're going to do one more time into the lagoon, and then outside, and then that'll be the finish. So you can see from the top view, as they're contouring you can see the reef, the fringing reef on the right-hand side near the shoreline. And then of course, the lagoon passage where no boats are allowed. Yeah. And back to our leaders in the front. Now, this is a mind game that you're playing here. This is who is going to let go first. Who is the most stubborn? You can see they're right above the reef. Luckily, the tide is high enough so it doesn't, the water's high enough it doesn't affect the va'a as it is. So here, Kevin decides to accelerate. Following right behind him right next to him is Damiama's going stroke for stroke. So, yeah, that's a little bit of strategy, maybe a little to see what's going to happen if Kevin, once again, we're just playing strategy, mind games here, and find out. And so you can see a little bit of acceleration getting up to speed for Kevin, and of course maintaining it, and he's able to slowly pull away, but not too far. That's it. Beautiful images. I like it. So everybody can observe Kevin's stroke technique, and as well as Ami Damas, and you can see it's not super fast. Yeah. So it is about controlling the va'a. Once again, preventing the va'a from bouncing or doing any kind of vertical motion. Trying to get a slide in there, and then when you have a bump, accelerate when you need to. And after that, breathe and maintain that stroke, being efficient on the water. There. So they'll be almost coming out of the lagoon section. I believe they're going to be contouring a buoy and then making their way around. So there it is. They're going to start turning. So to the left up there, you can see that's an area we call the King's Tomb. So the King of Tahiti, Pomare V, is buried in the tomb right here, and he is at the exit of the lagoon. And you can see here the reef on the top part